us, keeping us feeling sound, more 15 million, keeping us on stone bills, 15 million.
While the actions have continued to drill the action of Governor Nyesom Wike relating to the sealing of properties of his perceived political enemies. The Chancellor of the International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights, Dr. Omena Jackson, in his reaction, said the action of the governor is unlawful and counterproductive to the rule of law. Omena Jackson, in a telephone interview with correspondent Femi Abukulode, said the action of the governor is capable of worsening the situation in the labor markets.
Whether they are political opponents, whether they are party members, whether they are ordinary citizens, they are entitled for their rights of liberty, of ownership of property, liberty of resistance, liberty of survival, and liberty of choice. And when this rights is being infringed upon, it runs counterproductive to rule of law. The law requires that before you take any action, subject that citizen to legal scrutiny. Let there be a judicial pronouncement. Even if you caught an armed robber, red-handed robbing, the rule of law requires that you must pass through trial to convince him that what you have done is wrong, that it's against the law by being an armed robber. You don't summarily execute an armed robber. Now you think about civilized citizens who have one way or the other contributed to the state, whose economic activities is helping to reduce unemployment.
The Chancellor of the International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights, Dr. Omena Jackson, however, called on the affected politicians to seek justice in courts.
They should approach a competent court of jurisdiction. And we, the civil society organization, is preparing a suit to challenge such violate the economic rights. We will meet in court. We cannot continue to allow draconian policies exist in River State and even in Nigeria as a whole.
Elder statesman and Niger Delta activist Anab Saraigbe have attributed the rising cases of oil theft in the Niger Delta to the underdevelopment of oil-bearing communities in the region. Anab Saraigbe, while speaking to our correspondent, said the oil thefts will only disappear when the 13% oil derivation is used to improve the livelihood of host communities in the region. The Niger Delta activist further said that oil thefts and illegal oil refining are damaging the environment.
We have discussed this in several fora, and we said, look, until this oil derivation goes to the communities and the communities take ownership, these things will continue. Agitations will continue. And it's agitation that will lead to oil theft. Nobody is happy with oil theft because it destroyed the environment further. They open valves they could not control, and the oil spill everywhere, and it's affecting the environment. And that is not to the advantage of the people of Rivers or the Niger Delta. But how come the people are producing money, you go out, you see skyscrapers, Abuja, see skyscrapers somewhere, you come, your state is not developed, your community is not developed, everything is happening. But the question is, who owns oil?
The former spokesperson of PANDEF, Anab Saraigbe, also called on Niger Delta leaders to start preparing for life away from oil. He said that the numerous technological advancements in clean energy is reducing the huge demand for fossil fuels.
With the end of PANDEF, we have been looking at the economy beyond what happens if the fossil oil is no longer used. And severally, we have made presentation to government to join us in such discussion. But government is only interested in we fighting for the proceeds to come and the spend. But they are not interested in supporting us. Most governors in the way enjoy 30% derivation. I don't know how many of them they are involved in the agitation of derivation. And it's people like us who are being on the ground shouting for these things to come. We are looking probably beyond oil. What is government doing? Look, in the West, why is the West better than us here in the South? The West is better because after election, there is no politics. You can develop. You bring everybody, invite everybody to come together and we take ideas to move forward. But in the case of the South, and Rivers in particular, if you don't like your face, they don't want to do it. They don't want to call you, they don't want to let you know what's going on.
In the meantime, former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Ghana, says poor leadership and sabotage are responsible for the oil thefts in the country. Professor Jerry Ghana during an event in Port Harcourt asked the federal government to block all leakages in the oil sector to end oil thefts in Nigeria. Jerry Ghana further called on the federal government to improve surveillance on the Nigerian waterways for oil thefts.
They told us that petroleum was very expensive, now it's expensive, we can't even find it. You told us that we are not exporting so much oil, now we are not even exporting money. You must control our behind seas. Nigeria's crude because the federal government has failed to really control the waters and to control the seas. Revenue from oil. When oil prices are high, the revenue from oil to Nigeria is almost nil. It's a great share. It's unacceptable. It's totally irresponsible. And therefore we appeal that whoever is to take the decision to ensure that we control over our resources in terms of the oil that we sell to get the tremendous revenue is restored. We can do it. It can be done. It must be done.
Professor Jerry Gunner also asked Nigerians to use their PVCs to vote for eligible leaders in the 2023 polls. He said the PDP will restore the lost glory of Nigeria if elected back to power.
Government is about people, people's security, people's welfare, people's future, people's everything that is really important to them. Therefore, don't make the mistake of waiting a vote to go to the other side. You know whom I mean. The APC has failed, nationally failed, woefully failed, embarrassingly failed. Therefore, don't even go there. We want to assure you that the problems we have with PDP, we shall resolve them. And if they are not resolved, this leader, the government here together with all of us, we shall take the people of Nigeria where to go.
Similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari says he has directed security agencies to increase surveillance across the country to stamp out the widespread oil theft in the country. The president's directive is coming 1 week after a super tanker was detained off the coast of Equatorial Guinea. The president in a statement said his administration will not allow a few criminals to have unfettered access to the nation's crude oil supply. He said that he has directed security agencies to speedily bring to a halt the activities of these vandals in the Niger Delta. President Muhammadu Buhari said the cooperation with neighboring countries in halting oil theft is being strengthened and tightened. A sociologist at the Department of Sociology, University of Port Harcourt, Professor Sufri Petisai says youth empowerment is the only way to create wealth and job creation for the teeming youth in the country. Professor Sufri Petisai, during a public presentation on the role of the Nigerian youth in wealth creation in Port Harcourt, said youth empowerment will lead to economic emancipation in Nigeria. He said youth empowerment has worked in many developed nations across the globe. The senior lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt also asked leaders in the country to consider empowering the youth to end unemployment in Nigeria.
My argument is that youth empowerment is like best option for creation and economic growth. In fact, the youth remains the core of economic growth for the nation. If we do not plan to empower them, no doubt we are preparing to fail. They are our foundation. Our argument is that if we do not plan to empower them, no doubt we are preparing to fail. They are the foundation for proper economic growth. This strategy has worked in Japan, United States, China, and elsewhere. Consequently, where and how can this youth be harnessed, given the prevailing attitude of disposition towards the segment of this very, very important population?
Professor Sufri Petisai further called on Nigerian youth to change their mindset and think of how to solve global problems to make the needed impacts in the world. He said problem solvers are wealth creators.
Wealth, what do I mean by wealth? When I say wealth creation, my argument is that whatever we want to achieve, I'm a teacher. Some of my former students are today my colleagues. Some of them are also doing very good. What I'm wearing now is also being made by students who pass through the young lady who had a 2-1. But rather than want to do other things, decided to learn how to make. So I'm talking from my own experience. Now, wealth consists of 3 parts. These are health, easy to be health, then cash flows, and riches as well as power. Health consists of spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental. That mental is very, very important. First and foremost, you need to make a decision of what you want to do. Whatever you want to be, you can really it in your mind's eye. That's what I mean by that. Now, you also have cash flows and riches, and this includes savings, investment, and of course, any of revenue. Power inclusive of spiritual and temporal influence. They are very, very important.
Still on the news, at 6 federal government sets up committee to chronicle the achievements of Nigerian sportsmen and women, plus other stories after this break.
GDI, Operation Collection and Show of PVC Train, moves to Gokana LGA. As the Grassroots Development Initiative GDI, PVC Sensitization, Mobilization, Collection and Show of PVC Train moves to Gokana Local Government Area, the Executive Chairman, Gokana LGA, Honorable Confidence Deco, joyfully welcomes the standard flag bearer and governorship candidate PDP River State, Amabu Senebo Similaye Fubara, and his Deputy Professor Ngozi Odu, the President General of GDI Worldwide, Chief Bright Amewule, and other distinguished guests for the epoch-making program of PVC Sensitization, Mobilization, Collection, tagged Operation Show Your PVC in Gokana. Indeed, Gokana is fully, simply, and actively simplified with their PVC. Date is Sunday, 21st August 2022. Venue, Mogo Sports Field, Gokana LGA, time 12 noon. By this announcement, all sons and daughters and members of the public are invited to come out en masse to accord our highly esteemed August visitors and rousing welcome to our dear hospitable home of Gokana LGA. Announcer, Honorable Confidence Deco, Executive Chairman, Gokana LGA.
Surrounding news at 6 on Super FM 93.3. The Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Allied and Education Institutions have announced a suspension of their ongoing strike. The National President of SANU, Muhammad Ibrahim, while speaking to journalists, said the suspension is for a period of 2 months. However, SANU President did not disclose if the demands of the union had been met by the federal government. The Nigerian Association of Women Journalists in Nawoj River State has expressed concern over the rise of domestic violence against women in River State. The chairperson of Nawoj River State, Susan Serikaya Wikana, in a chat with newsmen, asked victims of domestic abuse to always speak up. Susan Serikaya Wikana also said offenders of domestic abuse must face the wrath of the law.
But it is unfortunate at this point people that are involved in this kind of issue, like the union had, was not ready for any case to be put to any level for the law to be arrested. And the program pushed ahead, and that was what led to the arrest of the man and the side chick.
In sports, the federal government has set up a 12-man committee to work towards the successful production and second launch of the Sports Book of Record with a view to documenting athletes' achievements for posterity. The Sports Book of Record is a compendium chronicling the achievements of Nigerian sportsmen and women over the years. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, while inaugurating the committee, called on them to work assiduously towards ensuring the production and launch of a one-stop shop document for the country's sportsmen and women, as well as their achievements, both past and present. He said the record book will ensure the sacrifices and patriotic zeal of the athletes are written in gold and documented accordingly. The minister, represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Ismail Abubakar, charged the committee to be proactive and approach the assignment with utmost responsibility and patriotism. He also urged them to bring a wealth of experience to bear in ensuring a successful production and launching of the record book. And just before we go, let's take a look at the headline of our major stories. President Muhammadu Buhari directs security agencies to stamp out oil thefts. Elder statesman Anab Saraigbe says on development in the Niger Delta, fueling oil thefts in the region. An award calls for the persecution of offenders of domestic violence against women. That was a news was edited by Shegun Wolabi with the assistance of Ugochukwu and produced by Paulo Budefe. You could also visit us on our social media platforms at Super FMPH on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember, every child is your child. Support inclusive education. Good evening.
News, sports, entertainment, and talk for the whole family.